We're here to meet one of my professors from my graduate school, and we're going to, in the process, show you how you're going to use the H5 recorder for an interview. Now, sometimes we want a little bit more of the action of starting an interview, so I'm going to actually start the recorder and bring you along the way as we knock on Dr. Treinen's door. Saw how to get this started in the last video.
Hi, Robert. Come
Hi,
on.
hello. Thank you. Oh, that's fine. Now, we have chosen an office space so that we don't have distracting sounds, anything else that might show up that would damage our ability to hear Dr. Treinen's voice. We're going to use the recorder here for the interview, and we just want the space that's going to be really conducive to having a good, strong interview. So I've got with me some of my draft questions. I'm going to put that nearby me, right? I'm just going to glance at that from time to time. I've looked at those questions before, and that's going to keep me on schedule for the kinds of questions I want to ask. But there's going to be several times where I may want to stop and ask for follow-up questions, or there may be more detail, more story I want to get to with my questioning as well. I'm going to make sure that I'm situated in such a way that I can hold the microphone and I can hear Dr. Treinen's voice, and I need to test it as well. So I'm just going to start with a testing question. You can see I'm going to try and get to that 6 decibel level again. But can I ask you, this is a very deeply, intensely personal question, is what did you have for breakfast today?
I had Lucky Charms, and I'm not going to lie, I had a Diet Coke from McDonald's as well. So that's what I had. Pretty basic.
Wonderful. So you can see that I've set my recording level. I feel good about that. I feel like if I'm about this distance away and I'm holding the microphone not directly in front of her face but off to the side a little bit so I can get that full quality of her voice, I'm going to do my best to keep the microphone on her. I might lean in from time to time if I want my questions in there. If I really needed to, I could edit my questions in at another time, but again, the focus is on my interviewee. So I've got my test ready. I think I'm going to start a new track. And we are ready to record. And the first question is, could you just say your name and what's your relationship to Minnesota State University Mankato?
My name is Christy Treinen, and I'm a full professor at Minnesota State University Mankato in the Department of Communication Studies.
Can you describe briefly full professor? What does that title mean?
It means I've been here a long time. It means that I have earned the title, some tenure and promotion, both. So the full professor is a promotion, but I've also got tenure, so that means that, you know, I have shown the university, so the president of the university, the dean, things like that, that I am worthy to stay here, hopefully forever, or until retirement.
Could be confusing for students sometimes about what the different labels and things like that are
Mm-hmm.
like. Now, I know that I'm here to also talk about my college story too. So one of the questions I'm going to get into is see what recollections or memories Dr. Treinen has of me being a student here.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask you, we go back now, I think it was 15 years, right?
Is it 15 years?
Yeah. What do you remember about me as a graduate student here?
As a graduate student. So if I remember right, first you were in a class of mine, right? And then you decided to come and be a teaching assistant. Okay. So what I remember about you is that you were thoughtful, and we were so excited that you were actually going to take time off to come here, right? And you developed some interesting curriculum for our basic course program, which is Communication Studies 100, a gen ed that many students would take. And we utilized one of your assignments, or I did, until about 2 years ago when I stopped being involved with TAs as much in the basic course and things like that.
Now, at any number of points, I want to, as I would in a normal conversation, interject and say, oh, that, or tell me more, or I would vocalize more. Here, I'm really making a conscious effort. And sometimes I tell my interviewees first, this isn't like a normal conversation. I'm going to keep the focus on you. So you're going to see me nod or smile a lot, but I won't interject because I know the microphone's going to pick it up. So I focus on you. The other thing, too, is if you were to reach out for this, and let's say there was a longer segment. Yep.
Hello. Sorry, Robert.
all I would do is politely just pull the H5 recorder back, because as somebody's talking, if they were holding it, their hands may begin to move, or they may have jewelry that may start clicking on the base of this. Any of that would pick up and would damage the sound that we're getting in the interview, right? So I just say, oh, don't worry, I've got it covered. I'm going to keep this with me while you're talking. Please just keep talking to me. And I'd handle it that way. There's moments where you have to decide, what more do we want to get into, right? And I'd like to know, like, for myself, you seemed to be a faculty member who was genuinely interested in student success. And I know I was an older student, and maybe I was a bit goofy, and I certainly came to the office a lot. I saw you as a teacher, like somebody I wanted to be. Who inspired you to be a teacher?
Oh, it goes back to when I was in between universities, and I had an instructor whose name was Marv Bossert, and he was an undergrad teacher, and I have one in each of my programs that I was in. But he was also on the news in Fargo, WDAY, I believe, and he taught a journalism class, broadcast journalism class, and there was something about him. He was so kind. Like, I was really, really sick, and he sent me home one day, and I was like, wow, I was like a human being at a state school. And that felt really, I don't know, he just sort of took an interest in all of us. And I was like, I'd love to do that. Like, that really showed me that, because even sometimes when I was at a private college, I felt like I had a professor who couldn't learn my name. She would refuse to learn my name all semester. I'm like, seriously, there's 25 of us here. So I knew that I loved something about the university, and then I had some Marv Bossert in particular. I even wrote him a letter before I went on for my PhD. So, yeah, he was very instrumental in sort of my love of teaching.
Wonderful. So what I would do is I'd go forward with questions about experiences that Dr. Trinan had, things that pushed her toward college, feelings, moments, stories, and then when I get to the end, I always want to take a minute to thank you, but say, is there anything else that you'd like to tell me? Because when you're hearing questions as an interviewee, there may be these answers that come later, right? We hear a question and we think a little bit, so I take time to ask that final question. Is there anything else you'd like to share with me today?
Well, I think one of the things that I'm going back to your question about you, right? And coming to you weren't goofy or anything like that. You were very thoughtful, and that's why we were really happy to have you coming here to be a part of our program for this year. So I think that you could, as someone who really appreciates and is student-centered, you can sort of see that in students as well, right? If that makes sense, I think it does.
The other thing I may want to do, and I've only gotten into this shortly, but I'm hearing the audio and it sounds good. I know I'm recording because I can see the seconds tick, but what I may want to do is stop my recording at a reasonable spot and just check and make sure that what I'm recording is playing. I might hit the play button, as you can see right there. And I can hear. And I can hear exactly what I've recorded. Mm-hmm. And the audio quality is excellent, and I know I'm ready to continue. That's how we would conduct an interview like this. I always take a moment, too, at the end to thank my interviewees. I try to leave the microphone on as long as possible, too. There may be a funny moment or a wonderful kind of action moment at the end. If I get a chance and I'm in the office, too, right, I may ask for a moment to talk about or comment about here. In fact, I'm going to make sure I'm recording, but I see a plaque and an award for an outstanding new teacher award, which would have come right about the time when I was here. Can you tell me about what we see here?
I'm still riding that wave. How many years ago was that? 11? No, it's a wonderful award for teachers within their first 5 years at the university, and they at the Central States Communication Association is one of our smaller regional. There's 11 states, I believe, in it. And conferences, and it's an award they give out every year for someone who's newer to teaching, right, and has done what they consider to be an outstanding job. And so that for me was like, it was really meaningful for me to receive that award, because I really am concerned with my teaching and student learning, things like that. So that was a really good day, and I'm still have the plaque up. It's the only plaque. Look, oh wait, I do have a degree up too, I think, or something. But yeah.
Wonderful.
Should have put that behind me. No.
And that is it. That's conducting our interviews again. for taking the time with
Yes.
us, and thank you for the inspiration for my teaching career coming here through Minnesota State University of Mankato.
Yeah.
So
It's great to have you.
great. Thanks, everybody.